Hello everybody, today I'll be giving you tips and tricks on how you price unusual weapons, as well as how to make a rough estimate of unusual strange weapons prices. Disclaimer, my words are in no way final and stuff may change, but as it is now, I would argue that everything I say is pretty much correct. Okay, so I've had a lot of people asking me in the past what their weapons, etc. were worth. Nowadays, I just direct people trying to sell or price their stuff to the Steam community market, especially if it's an unusual, non-strange weapon. I also got a request on making a video like this, and I was like, oh my god, why didn't I think of that? Who else would be making such a video if not me, of course? So okay, let's get started on the tips and tricks. Okay, what you're gonna do to estimate a price on an unusual strange weapon is unusual weapons. I accidentally said unusual strange weapons. We'll get to those later. To look at your in-store Manco key price, we'll need that later, of course, and then go look for similar weapons on the Steam community market. You're gonna check if sales occurred and what those sales were, as well as what's currently listed price-wise. On a basic thing, you'll either want to sell your weapon at the recent sales price or just below the current guy. A bit of a jerk move, but whatever. If you however do not want to lose that 15% cut, you can apply math, and let's say there's weapon for 100 euro, you take 100 euro and divide it by 2.2 euro, as that's the current Manco key price, in my country at least. You'll then have about 45.5-ish keys, and we'll go and round down that to 45 keys. Of course, if somebody bought that weapon on the market, the guy who sold it won't get that much because the market does take a cut. But seeing as somebody would maybe pay that price, and as you can probably see in the recent sales, people probably have paid that price, then they have paid pretty much 45 keys of value there in Steam, like value. And then you'd be trying to sell your weapon for around the previous mentioned price, that is 45 keys. And if you cannot, you can always go to the community market and sell it there, but you lose the 15%. You'll probably still make profit depending on what trades you have done or why you would have ever done this if you would not still be making profit this way. So that pretty much goes for any weapon effect combo, but in rare cases you may want to look up the weapon and effects. So let's say a stab to hell knife with hot would probably be able to sell a few keys higher than, let's say, the same knife but with cold. Also, when you're looking for likes of your weapon, you will want to look at your weapon's wear and judge if it's good looking or just a normal looking wear. For example, blood spatters might complement the wear somehow, I don't know. You can decide that. You should probably not charge extra for the wear, how the wear looks anyways, but might have an amazing wear, who knows. Next up, you'll want to check the actual wear. If it's like battle scarred to field tested, they're pretty much considered the same, while minimal wear and factory new is also pretty much considered the same on non-strange weapons, of course. Like the same category. Of course, factory new even here is a tiny bit more valued than minimal wear, but minimal wear is quite a bit higher than battle scarred and field tested in a lot of cases, so it's a bit like tires in that sense. So let's say you have a battle scarred weapon and you can only find field tested weapons that look alike. It's safe to assume if yours is a bit cheaper, like a few keys or maybe a few euros, that it's likely to be able to sell. If there's a minimal wear and factory new, you may want to consider taking it quite a bit down, like maybe 15 to 25 keys. I meant like 15 to 25%, so if it's like 100 keys, that would be 15 to 25 keys, depending on what it is. Of course, if there's no other, like, if there's a field test around the same and you can see that they are also selling, then it's safe to assume you might be able to sell it for a bit more than 15 to 25% off. Again, just take a look in the Steam community market for lookalikes. Okay, now you might be asking, how do you value a strange unusual weapon? The basic rule of thumb is about 3 times as much as a non-strange one in terms of being battle scarred and field tested. Minimal wear, however, is somewhat higher, probably 4 times in a lot of cases. Again, this is just a general rule of thumb. And if you look at a factory new unusual strange weapon, those things are crazy. A guy called Power Protect Me have managed to sell quite a lot from the price of 300 to 1000 keys, depending on effect, skin, and how they look together. If the effect doesn't look good on the weapon, you'll be looking at 300 to 400 key range. If you got a high tier weapon that is wanted, like let's say an elite grade, or in this case a hot stab to hell factory new knife, even though it's a merc grade, knives are quite wanted, and it's about 800 to 1000 keys, and it actually sold for 1000 keys. Maybe even, like, you could probably maybe even get more, but like I would argue that that's 800 to 1000 keys in this case. But again, if it's maybe a cool looking elite grade, it could probably be worth way more than 1000 keys. But let's take an example. My unusual black Dahlia with isotopes, I would value that at 600 to 800 keys to the right buyer, of course. It's not top dollar, of course, but the skin is like the best pistol skin. Does suffer from being a secondary, but it's also multi-class, so it's pretty solid, as well as being a commander grade weapon. Another example is a sniper rifle. I've seen people sell field tested unusual strange ones for 400 keys. I myself own a minimal wear sniper rifle in unusual strange with energy orb, and I think that would be worth 400 to 500 keys judging by this. I was lucky enough to pick it up for 350 euro myself on the Steam community market. I also picked up a field tested strange hot stab to hell knife twice, and I sold one of them for pretty much 300 keys, but I kind of lowered it to 285 to get like a smoother sale and like get it sold a bit before I would normally get it sold. But I could still technically have gotten 300 keys for it. And that was within a week, like just a week, like as soon as it were tradable. And I paid like 180 euro average for like both of them, maybe one for like 200, maybe one for 160, something like that. And that leads me to think maybe I priced it a bit too low, since it got sold so quickly and turned quite a lot of profit. But yeah, I'm happy with that anyways. So I hope some of you can get good use of these tips, and keep in mind, especially with the perfect factory new unusual strange weapons, or just factory new unusual strange weapons, I just like to call them perfect because they have all the things. They can take a hell of a long time to sell, but when they do, they sell for quite a lot, and it's usually bought by collectors or people who really like that specific weapon that you might be selling if it's one of the good weapons. Anyways, I'll be ending the video here, and I'll actually not be ending the video here. I'll let you like watch the rest, so enjoy, and then it'll be ended. But the guide is over, so I hope you enjoy it. Feel free to ask questions, leave feedback, even suggestions to future content below. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.
Going up.
Control point is being captured. Mission begins in 60 seconds.